everybody, welcome to Fifi Quest. How you doing? It's good to see you all. If you'll notice, I am not in my studio apartment right now. I am in the great state of Colorado, here doing a little hiking vacation, and yeah, just getting out of LA for a while. It's been a little dreary there, what with the heat wave, and the plague, and the race wars. It's looked cuter, so... Yeah, so here I am in Colorado, and I'm gonna go on some adventures, and I just wanted to treat myself and go do something fun and just mix it up. You know, I'm a big fan of mixing it up, because when you mix stuff up, something pops out. In Norse mythology, Loki would come in and mess things up and piss everybody off, but then you'd get like a boat that sails anywhere, or a spear that can't miss. So, we can all learn from that. Okay, everyone. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'd like to do. I would like to just take a little moment, because I want to just really start off this podcast getting centered with what's going on with me inside, and really feel myself and feel what's going on. And, if you'd like to do that with me, that would be great too. So how about on the count of 3, we just stop and take a moment and just really, really feel and ask what's going on inside. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that felt good. I hope you enjoyed it. So, anyway, you know what's going on with inside of me? I was thinking how this new dress looks like I'm wearing a tit burqa. Like someone came by, you throw some more cloth over those, missy. Like it's like I'm on a beach in 1922. But anyway, so I'm here in Colorado. I drove up here. I love driving over flying. I will fly any day. Like, it's a 14-hour drive to get up here. I did that in one shot. That's my really lame superpowers. I can drive for a long time, and I'm super content all the way. And I love looking at the beautiful landscapes. I love looking at cute, quirky stuff along the way. Nothing cute is happening in LAX. Okay? It's like, oh, they got a lemonade. I can pay $18.46 for a thimble full of, Brussels sprout cranberry glaze, and, and the employee, he'll dip his, I get a little leaf of chard, and the employee will dip his fingertips into the vinaigrette and just flick it into my face. Yeah, there's none of that. There's no, you don't get to stop off in Beaver, Utah for the 3rd time in a year and take a photo by a giant beaver statue, that they have outside a gas station, and then they have lots of Second Amendment propaganda inside. You can't get that in the airport. What kind of fun, quirky adventures are you gonna find in the airport? Like, oh, did you know Houston's has an Einstein's Bagels? I didn't know they had those, because I know they're a subsidiary of Caribou Coffee, so I thought they were just the Midwest, but they got them down south too. Yawn! I came up here and I stopped for gas in I think some little town in Nevada. I don't even remember. It's like Montclair or something, and it had a giant thermometer that said 108, and it cost $3.74 to get gas there, and it had a Greek cafe that looked like it was burned down. You don't see any of that crap. You don't get any of this fun, white girl Hunter S. Thompson adventures. You get those on the road. So, yeah, so it's up here. I always like driving through Utah too. I don't know why, but there's something really like. I mean, I'm not talking culturally, but like you just drive through it has like a real just heavenly vibe in here. Like you could tell, like if you're, a religion or cult or whatever you want to call them, if you could stop there and be like, oh yeah, we're supposed to go here. It feels like a place a spirit would lead you to, you know? Yeah, not like Nevada. Nevada will make the devil go, Jesus fucking Christ. Nevada is like Arizona if they believed in fun, It's like Nevada is just Arizona if they just didn't pretend to have morals. Anyway. Tell you what else went on with me. I went on a hike yesterday in the Holy Cross Wilderness. You can see some footage of it from my Instagram. And, it was fun. It rained on me for a while. I actually ended up getting a little lost. Because it was so green and verdant and just the vegetation was everywhere, and they've had way fewer tourists this year because of COVID, and all the trails were really overgrown. And one time, I kind of couldn't find the trail again, and it was like my phone had died, and I was really worried about not finding the trail and getting stuck out there. At night, I got really scared. I had to okay, I know it's on the other side of this pond, and but it was so brambly, so I'm just like, look, I'm just going through the pond. I don't give a fuck. I'm fording through this thing like the Oregon Trail, just stomping through it. So I got pond water up to my, sensitive areas. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. You don't need to hear me all snorting, congested through the rest of this. Oh, did I rub any makeup off my upper lip area? I don't think so. Fuck it. These are these are the trolley games trans girls have to play. Stuffy nose or exposed mustache. Yeah, so... But I ended up making back, and I was talking to a friend about this, and he described me as intrepid, was the word he used. And I had to be like, you know what, I kind of am adventurous, Jeez, excuse me, I got allergies up here. You know what, I'm gonna get a proper Kleenex. Hold on, everybody. I'm coming back. Audio listeners, nothing is wrong. Remain calm in your automobile. Or if you're somehow blasting this in your headphones in your motorcycle. Jeez, okay. Oh, crap. Oh, yeah, That's something else I'll share with you guys. I'm in a really weird stage with my hair right now. It's too... You know what? Like, I gotta admit, I kind of miss having a shaved head. I really do. Because, like, a cis girl would have a shaved head. You see it happening, But, like, I'm at a length now that just no woman would keep their hair at this length. And it looks weird. Like the headbands are great, but like it's just too poofy with headbands. Sometimes I feel like I have clown hair. So I don't know. I'm really at a loss for what to do with my dang hair right now. But it just is what it is, But you know what? It's okay for me too to be like, hey, this hurts my feelings right now, or hey, I don't like it. I don't. Big part of living my authentic self is me deciding that I don't have to act like I'm fine when I'm not. That's what led me here. So I'm sure it's okay to do that and say that when I am here, Jeez! Yeah, see, it's just, I can see it when I bend over, like it's messing with my hairline and stuff, and I just don't know what to do with my hair right now, guys. But anyway, back to what I was talking about with the hike. There was that moment when I got when I thought I was lost. And by the way, I made it out of there within plenty of time. But when I thought I was lost, it really kind of shook me a little, because I like to think that I have faith, and I like to think that I believe my spiritual higher power looks after me and guides me, and I want to say that I believe everything will be okay, but sometimes when something important really gets out of my hands, I panic, if I'm being honest with you. And that isn't the action of someone who believes they're being taken care of, I have a real fear of being deceived. It's almost like if I put my faith in something, or I trust something, or, so many important things in my life, I'm like if these are all the important things, I'm like, oh, I can't let that, and sometimes when I let go of something important, I get really scared. And I would like not to, because faith led me here. I like to think I'm really enjoying my life, and I like to think I have a happy disposition. But if you didn't know me, if you didn't know me before pre-transition, I promise you I was the most miserable boy you've ever seen in your life. And all of it because I just thought I had to control everything. All that misery came from me believing I had to exercise control over everything. It left no room for originality. It left no room for play. It left no room for vulnerability. And it just left no room for any real love of any kind, because I didn't love myself when I wasn't being... Every time I wasn't who I really was, I was saying, "You're shitty, Fifi. You're not worth being." You know? And I'm not treating myself that way anymore. So, yeah, that was just, it was kind of at, and I did pray when I did that. I was like, "Goddess, please help me. Goddess, please help me." But I think, and I am proud of myself for, I didn't just go, "Fuck that." I didn't give up, you know? I am proud that I did that and invited my higher power in. But, remember I was talking about the Michael Jordan documentary, I think last week? And I remember just talking about, he just feels like he's gonna win. He just believes it in his feelings. And I would really like to believe that Goddess is going to take me to prosperity and to love and to just bigger, more visibility, less, no hiding, just me walking with my shoulders back proudly through life and all the prosperity and wonder. I really want to believe that in my feelings. And I try to... Sometimes you can't think your way into right acting, you gotta act your way into right thinking, so I'm really just... Maybe if I looked at it like an action of bravery, something like, I am going to, when I get scared over whatever, I am going to feel Like everything's going to be great. And everything is great now. So that's what I'll try. Jeez, you gotta drink so much water up here. You guys, there's no oxygen. The air is so thin. It's so crazy. I do. The first night I'm even having trouble thinking and forming stuff together just because I got less blood. You know, I got the same amount of blood, but it's just carrying less oxygen. It's loafing up here. There'll be times when I'm like, I can barely get out of a couch. You like want to just stand up to go change laundry and you just faint like an old Victorian lady. So that's what's been going on in my life, but and I've been feeling a lot of sadness lately too. Part of the reason I like getting out in the woods is, you know, I can really hear God very clearly and I can feel my feelings really clearly. And, I guess I'm just sad I don't look different yet. And I know I've said that before and I'll say it again as long as this podcast is going on, I'm sure. But, like, I do wish I looked different. I wish I had my hair. I wish my face looked a little different. A lot different, actually. And, you know, I'm doing pretty well for the time I've been doing this. But like I did a podcast today with 3 cis women. Shout out to Lady Podcast, everyone. Everyone go check that out. With Barbara Gray, Tess Parker, and Brandy Posey. But, it's hard not to sit in a room with 3 cis women and then go, oh, there's me. You know, I don't doubt the validity of my own situation, but it's very hard not to go. It's very hard not to go. One of these things is not like the other, you know? But you know what? I'm feminine in plenty other ways. I'm delightful, right? I made this kitchen smell like cinnamon, okay? I made breakfast this morning because I want the welcoming smell of apple with bacon to flood throughout the house and create a welcome environment, okay? These are the kinds of things you'd crush it in 1952, and I'm nailing that kind of stuff. Yeah. I don't, and you know, that's another thing too, guys. I don't, kind of one of my old little defects is I sometimes act like I need to be better than everyone to just break even. That can manifest itself in really arrogant, ugly ways. And, at other times it's like I've got to be a cartoon fairy godmother, you know, at all times. Like I've got to be the perfect trans woman to just be allowed a place in life, and that's not that's if animated birds aren't carrying my train everywhere I go, and but that's not a loving place. That's not a me demanding the best out of myself. That's a me judging myself incredibly defective. That's turning all the wonderful things about me into compensations for the big terrible, and I won't live that way about myself. And I think I've said this before too. I try to look at being trans as what does it give me rather than what does it take away? How is it an asset rather than... I mean, it is a challenge, but I don't... It doesn't have to be a liability. I can walk around and apologize for myself like it is. It can be an asset. My transness can be a conspicuous walking billboard for how I am willing to do, by any means necessary, I'm going to be happy. And by any means necessary, I'm going to walk through this life authentically. And by any means necessary, I'm not going to care what people think. It can be this thing that says some wonderful things about me on first glance. That is a gift of it. So anyway, switching gears here a little bit, I want to put a question out there to everyone in podcast land. This is totally unrelated, but alright. By the way, I've told you guys if you want, email me at fifiquestpodcast@gmail.com. And you know what? I'm going to pull that up real quick because I want to give a shout out to some people who emailed me recently. Here we go, we're loading Gmail. Here we go. Okay, yeah, I want to give a shout out to Alistair Wallace. Thank you so much for the lovely email. I really appreciate you listening to the show. And thank you so much to Jennifer N. Kulk LMT. Thank you guys so much for being fans of the show. You guys said some really lovely things. And I appreciate you guys here. Your presence in my life is a very, very, very good thing. And, yeah, there we go. Why did I bring that up? Oh, yeah, okay, I want to put this out to all the listeners of the show. Me and a friend were debating this at length the other day. We want to know, is there a polite way to tell someone that they talk too much? We can't come up with anything. I suppose theoretically you could say, you could say something like, I feel like I don't have a lot of space in this conversation. But if I gotta be honest, I feel like I'm in a lot of conversations with people where my brain is just screaming, dude, I get it. I get it. And I've talked, the few people I've been, brave enough to share this with, because, everyone I've talked to about this agrees. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't say that to someone. You can't say that the precious things in their mind and heart are not Are you to silence them, Fifi? Are you to silence their precious life and stifle their glorious spirit? Are you more beast than man, Fifi? Yeah, so I don't know. But I gotta say, that's a big challenge in me in social situations. It causes me a lot of internal grief. And it has to a lot of my friends too. So if you guys experience this phenomenon and you have any solutions with how to deal with it, how to tell someone that they talk too much politely, I really want to hear it. FifiQuestPodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. Jennifer, you're a therapist. You ought to know. You shoot me a line. I'll tell everyone what she says. You know what I think that's a big part of too is I think a big part of that is I'm a stand-up comic, and like stand-up comics, our whole lives are is how to say important things, or at least, important in the sense that they're part of a performance, a lot of people are listening. How to say important things concisely and efficiently, that's our whole life. So when people in like not in that field are bad at that, like I find it really obvious. I'm gonna get some more water, everybody. Let's take another quick break. Don't go, everyone. Audio listeners, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Video people, you enjoy the view for 1 second. Okay, here we are. I'm not cutting those out. You know what? I'm not cutting those little moments where I just step away out of the podcast. You know why? Because a big thing for me lately is giving life room to breathe. I feel like a lot of my life is keep the ball in the air, keep the ball in my air, keep the ball in the air. When I stepped away to get a Kleenex, even part of me is like, I gotta come back, I can't leave a room of vulnerability, or I can't leave, it's a lot of control, And, to behave that way, I think, is to believe that life is inherently hostile, and that anything I don't control will fall apart and get ruined, and I don't want to live that way because my beliefs are how I act, and, excuse me, here's some more room. It's also, sometimes I live my life like I do way too much stuff in a day. And it's not necessarily all productive stuff, but it's even just fun stuff. But sometimes I'll get an emotion where I have too many, like I plan to do too many things. And when I'm in that space, it's like even today I was like, I gotta get the podcast done. I don't want to have to do this. I want to go, yay, I get to do my podcast. And I get to express myself and goof around. And help figure myself out and share with people. And hope and give something of vulnerability to the world out and stay visible in it. That's what I want to do. But sometimes when I do so many things in a day, it's because I think it's because I believe two things. One, it's because I'm operating under the belief that nothing good will ever happen to me, and anything that flows naturally in life will automatically be bad and ruinous, and life is something I have to fight against rather than flow with on its benevolent little currents. Or it's because I think it's because I'm believing as such that my beliefs and instincts are bad. That if I follow my heart and the feelings deep inside me, that those things are there to screw me over and to sabotage me. And I'm not going to believe like my soul is out to sabotage me. It's sort of like, when sometimes people try to lose weight and they just try so hard to diet, and they diet because they're dieting, but if they could eat, and they don't eat poorly because the diet prevents it, but if they could eat poorly, they would, So it's like, I went through this myself, you just gotta be a person who eats healthy. Well, I want to believe, if I'm like My instincts are bad. I gotta plan my whole life. I gotta plan all the recreation. I gotta plan all the hobbies. I gotta plan all the work. And if I don't do that, I'll live a bad life. And I'll look back and like I wasted my life when I'm doing that. I'm saying that my inner light is bad. And then I'll just be a bad person trying to be good, rather than a person that just is good for themselves and the world. You know? I don't have to try to live a good life and be a good person. I have to realize I am and get out of its way. That's what I want to do. And sometimes I struggle with that, you guys, especially because I'm a comedian. And, with this podcast, sometimes I'm like, this should be funnier. This should be more vulnerable. You need to keep the plate spinning. You need to keep the plate spinning. It's thinking I need to turn everything into a construct. Like, this has to go this way. This has to go this way. Or I should say something funny now. I should make an interesting, metaphor right now. I should riff on this rather than go, hey, I am interesting and funny and I do make a good podcast. So I can just be, Because living that other way, it's like being a caterpillar trying to think about how he walks, Like, what, I move this foot and I move this foot and I move this foot. And it's like, no, I just know how to walk. I know how to podcast and I know how to be funny. And if something inside me says goof around. If something inside me says be vulnerable, even if it's way more vulnerable or way more goofing around than up here necessarily thinks, I think brain serves heart and soul, not the other way around. And I think that's really important. And you know what, you guys? I've been thinking about that a lot as stand-up is kind of starting to get going again. Because, I did some stand-up sets as Fifi. It was pre-hormone treatments, but I did some stand-up sets as Fifi before the Comedy Store shut down, and it was like Joe was doing material about transitioning rather than Fifi is doing stand-up, so to speak. And I've been thinking about that a lot, thinking am I going to be tempted to do stand-up as in a Joe way just because it's comfortable? Am I going to be brave enough to serve? Who do I even want to be on stage? How much do I throw away? Do I have the chops? How much of those chops are do they really serve me? Do they serve some person I don't want to be anymore? How much do I keep? How much do I throw away? But what I've come to the conclusion is just like what I just talked about. I'm just gonna run with my inner feeling as much as I can, because the more I've done that, the better my life has gotten. And the more I've tried to think it out and outsmart life and construct myself, the more miserable and less prosperous I've got. My inner light is good, and your inner light is good too. And oh God, okay. This, you guys can't see this, but in my goddamn lamp fixture right now, I think there's a goddamn miller moth. And for those of you who are not Midwesterners, in the Midwest and the mountain states, there are these shitty black moths that get in your house in the summertime, and when you smash them, they just explode into dust and shit. And one time when I was a kid, hundreds of them got in our house all at once, and I am scared of these fucking things to this day. And I think there's one right in the lamp, right above me while I'm doing this. Ah! So anyway, that's what I got this week. My inner light is good. I don't need to be a perfect anything to be a great anything. And I'm going to feel like everything is good and taken care of and I'm good rather than just say it. I'm going to practice believing that in my feelings. So that's Fifi Quest this week, everybody. As always, thank you so much for listening. And for those of you guys who support the show, I love you so much. This is such a great thing for me. It really helps me explore myself. It really helps me practice being vulnerable. And to hear that it's valuable to people means so much to me. It's so life-affirming. And I'm so glad. The fact that you guys listen to this show and say nice things about it, it fills in, it fills in a lot of gaps that I don't always have the courage for in my newer life as Fifi. So thank you all so much. And as always, you can write me at fifiquestpodcast@gmail.com. If you guys could share this around social media and tell your friends about it if you like the show, I would really appreciate that. And check me out on the Lady to Lady podcast. I believe this will come out on Tuesday. I believe that'll come out the day after on Wednesday. That's a good podcast. And I love you guys. Thanks a bunch. Talk to you later.